It is said of all the treasures in Lord Krishna's treasure house, one stands supreme. The topmost treasure of Krishna is his holy name. You might wonder, if God has a treasure house, there will be interesting things there. There will be, for instance, divine ecstasies, or another treasure could be love, or another treasure could be any sort of spiritual achievement. But it is said of all these treasures, the holy name is the supreme treasure. And the reason why this is so is that when the soul meets the holy name, it actually meets its beloved Lord. And in that meeting, the soul gets revived. If you go to think about it, everything in this material world is dull matter and inert. There are only two spiritual entities. The first is you, the soul, and the second is the holy name. If you join them together, oh, that's a very happy perfection of yoga. Kirtan comes from the Sanskrit syllable kirt, which means to glorify. A kirtan is a glorification of the Lord in his many different names. And of all the kirtans, Sankirtan, or kirtan done with many together, is most effective, because when you do sit with many people and do kirtan, you will experience some delightful devotional feelings which are melting your heart. Many times people asked who brought kirtan to the Western world. Srila Prabhupada, my spiritual master, was really the one who started the Hare Krishna movement in the West and brought the singing of the holy names here. The way he started is quite interesting to hear. He is a very accomplished spiritual master, well recognized in India. When he came to the West, no one knew him. The way he propagated or started this movement was very endearing. He went to a park, he took a little drum with him and sat under a tree, just like saints have done since time immemorial, and started to sing the holy names of Krishna while accompanying him himself with that simple drum. And from this kirtan, a vast movement started. Obviously there had been other Indian teachers in the West before him. There had also been some kirtan groups there. But kirtan didn't really take off. It did not really enter the mind of the people. It didn't enter the musical field. But then, when Srila Prabhupada sat under the tree in New York, it was, concentric circles began to form. It's like when you throw a stone into a lake, circles expand from that place where the stone sank in the lake. So when Prabhupada sank his kirtan into the Western Hemisphere, it expanded and expanded, and was taken up by many, many people, and now there is a whole kirtan belt all around New York. You say this about usually about the Catholic or the Christian belt, but there are now kirtan belts, and they are Kirtan programs in London, in Germany, in Berlin, in Vancouver, in Delhi. The whole world seems to raise its arms and its voice in Kirtan. Also outside of the Hare Krishna movement, there are many Kirtan leaders who bring the holy names all around the world. It spreads in many directions, in many ways. But the initial impulse, the first stone, so to say, in the wave, in the lake of the Western world, was my exalted spiritual master, who made Hare Krishna a household word, which soon became known all over the world. It is a very endearing to speak about Srila Prabhupada, because I'm his disciple and I can never forget his gift to me, and that is he gave me a life of singing, a life of service, and a life which has a divine prospect, to serve the Lord and to be again at some time when he chooses in his wonderful association. At the moment when we do Kirtan, something very nice begins to happen. The holy name enters through the holes of the ears and then goes right to the core of the heart. That means to the innermost or inner heart, the spiritual heart. There it revives the soul and its relationship with the Lord. At that time, when this relationship is again revived, yoga happens, the yoga of Kirtan. That means a deep connection, a spiritual connection, a higher connection, and as a result, unlimited amounts of spiritual nectar comes to the soul and bathes the soul and gives it its new life. The Kirtan Mela is a concept which we find in traditional India. Meal, which is again the Sanskrit root for Mela. Meal means to meet. So Mela is a great gathering of the soul with God, and also the individual Kirtan performers with the other Kirtan devotees who participate in the group chanting. The essence of Kirtan Mela is this meeting, this divine connection, this higher connection. So we need to be aware of this purpose when we do Kirtan. When we do Kirtan of the mantra, it's very good to be mindful of the meaning of the mantra. Mostly the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is the preferred mantra which is done in the kirtans which are done in our movement, but also in other spiritual societies. This Hare Krishna Maha Mantra has a certain meaning. There's a certain mood embedded in it. And as we chant, it's good if we connect with this meaning, connect with this mood. The chanting of the holy name for the beginner is a sincere request for devotional service or bhakti or Bhakti Yoga. My spiritual master said that chanting is a sincere cry to be again accepted. So the artha or meaning of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is really a spiritual request, which is very nicely expressed in one verse from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. This verse says, "My dear Lord, for so many long years in this material world, I have totally forgotten you. And as a result, my life has become unlimitedly complicated. But today I'm turning to you as your sincere and serious servant. Please accept me." If a devotee chants in this mood, he will quickly get what is the essence of Kirtan, that is the connection, the yoga. Then Kirtan yoga happens. When we enter the Kirtan, it's not good to expect immediately some great results. With these expectations, we sometimes kill the natural flow of whatever is supposed to happen. We achieve something like an inner paralysis because we are totally fixed on something which we want, but maybe we will achieve something totally different. And if we don't have any eyes for that because of our expectations in one direction, we might miss out on the inconceivable gifts of the Kirtan. Further, it is recommended that you chant in a humble state of mind. This is something which requires further explanation. Humility doesn't mean to think less of yourself, but to think of yourself less. Don't think so much of your own little world. Exit that little universe of constructed ideas, and you will find a whole blissful spiritual universe waiting outside of aham, mameti, I and mine, or the material identification.